So in this segment, we're going to be discussing the Labour Party, the government, cutting foreign aid in order to boost the defence budget. And again, this is a really stupid thing, because one of the ways you kind of keep people where they are in terms of refugees and also people who generally live in poverty is through foreign aid, by supporting them where they are, which is the most effective way to stop a refugee crisis, but also is far cheaper and far more humane as well. But here we have this bozo here cutting the foreign aid budget in order to fund the defence budget. And, this is what he said previously regarding foreign aid.
This is wrong because investing in 0.7% in international aid is in Britain's national interest. This has been a cross-party position for 20 years. Successive prime ministers have kept to the commitment. Every living prime minister thinks this is wrong. There's only one Prime Minister who's prepared to do this, and he's sitting there. We will cut our spending on development assistance, moving from 0.5% of GNI today to 0.3% in 2027.
Just complete stupid, absolute bozo. Complete bozo. Starmer takes a major move on defence, a huge moment in his premiership. Starting today, the government will begin the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the end of the Cold War. A generational challenge requires a generational response, and the thing is, if they're going to invest in tanks and guns, that's not really going to help the MOD that much. The reality is that the UK has massive problems with cybersecurity. Last year, the MOD got hacked, I believe it's by China. So again, unless you're going to beef up things like cybersecurity, you're not going to get very far, lad. You're going to get hacked constantly. Even Star, a big kind of Labour fan here. Here's blow my brain. Keir Starmer's defence spending commitment: 2025 2.3, 2027 2.5, 2034 5%. So an increase in spending will be funded by cutting foreign aid and spending from 0.5% of GDP to 0.3. So again, this complete stupidity. And then even Phil Morehouse saying, so we're going to cut the funding which helps counter Russian destabilization activities abroad, and alongside America's much bigger implosion in foreign aid, allow China to step in and bolster its position. I'd love to know why the other options were turned down. And one of the things is that by giving this kind of aid, you get a lot of soft power. You get things like soft power and influence over countries. That's one of the reasons why foreign aid is such a big deal, because you can convince countries when they're about to make a dumb move or a move you disagree with, hey, look, thanks to us, some of your population don't live within poverty. It'd be a shame if we happen to pull the money. It's one of the things that they do talk about. So, that's one of the things that, things like foreign aid gives you, soft power. And it's just ludicrous.
That 3% that Keir Starmer talked about, wanting to get to 3% by the end of the next Parliament, so by 2034 roughly. It's a big ask, and at a time when funding is already squeezed, when public services are all asking for more money, when the NHS is getting more cash, but when schools, welfare, transport, all of these different departments want more money. Finding that extra money is going to be difficult. We reckon it's about an extra £16 billion a year that he's going to have to find in the next decade.
Yes. No, we're in a country where, the Breakfast Club that the government are going to roll out, that they celebrate so much, they're going to spend like 60p per pupil on this, and now we find out that they're going to spend more money on the military. It just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. It could be because this will play well with Reform, because Reform UK are on the real heels of the Labour Party, so they might see this as a win, because some of the people in Reform will be like, yeah, cut foreign aid, yeah, boost the military, yeah. So it's possible. You got this from Politics Show saying, I'm going to raise defence spending, and the wealthy will pay for it, right? Again, it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Here you had an article from David Lammy, literally a few weeks ago, right, February 7th, talking about how America cutting foreign aid is a bad idea. So he goes, Donald Trump's plan. Is it written by him? No, it's by Pippa, but. He goes, Donald Trump's plans to make drastic cuts to the US's international aid budget could be a big strategical mistake that allows China to step in and further its influence, the UK's foreign secretary has said. It's kind of crazy how some people plagiarise things and not give credit to the original sources. Crazy. David Lammy cautioned that Britain's own experience of merging the Department for International Development into the Foreign Office, announced by Boris Johnson in 2020 with little fanfare, was a serious blow to Britain's soft power in developing countries and beyond. So, as I said, this is a common political concept of soft power. It's money effectively. Thousands of US aid employees have already been laid off and programs shut down worldwide, including in Ukraine, after the new administration imposed a sweeping freeze on foreign aid ahead of consolidating it into the State Department, a move decried by critics as a huge foreign policy blunder. It's kind of weird, isn't it? You'd think that this is also a huge foreign policy blunder for the UK. In an interview with The Guardian on a trip to Kyiv, Lamy said, "What can I say to American friends is it's widely accepted that the decision by the UK, with very little preparation to close down DFID to suspend funding in the short term or give many global partners little hands up, was a strategic mistake. We have spent years unravelling that strategic mistake, and yet, Starmer hasn't actually created a Department for International Development again. So, okay." Development remains a very important soft power tool, and in the absence of development, I would be very worried that China steps into that gap. And he's not talking about the merits of things like, in terms of foreign aid, in terms of the help it does to give people in impoverished countries. He's talking about the soft power angle, which I think is sad, to be honest. He says, "We are hugely critical of the way the last government handled the decision, so I would caution US friends to look closely at what went wrong in the United Kingdom as they navigate this decision." So he's not just talking about the cuts here, he's talking about merging of the two departments. And so this is, honestly, given what he's saying about, China kind of taking over that space, it's kind of crazy to me. This on the back of, by the way, here, guys, the energy prices in the UK are going to go up again in April, and according to Martin Lewis, they're not going to come down. And has the government offered any support over this? No, not at all. They're talking about how more people are going to be eligible for the warm homes fund, but again, that's mostly people who are on welfare, so it's not going to help working people, which the government seems to be obsessed with talking about, but not really doing much to help. So again, we're in a situation where energy bills are going to go up. They're talking about the importance of national defence. What about the importance of just helping citizens in this country? How do you think you avoid riots? How do you think you avoid people falling into energy debt? How do you think you avoid people voting for people like Nigel Farage, etc.? He'll say, "Do you know what the problem is? It's foreigners. They're the reason why you pay so much for your energy." It's just crazy behaviour. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.